Good morning, it's Harvey Jackson. Hey, just gonna have a look at some of the news and veg oil rally and see how that's all compared. OPEC in the news as well. Palm oil ends higher again, and there's problems with the Malaysia production as moisture seems to be as a shortfall. So that is what's driving the palm oil. And you can see here the palm oil is actually driven a very steep line on the way up, and you can see even on stochastics it's trading above there, and your RSI relative strength index is actually trading quite high as well. So just this is a slide that I just want to maybe spend a little wee bit of time on, and what I did is actually look at the date when all oils were kind of a little bit lower, and then we traded the range. And this is our news on China right here on the EV tariffs. And since then, just looking at all veg oils that are compared as a percentage rise from this date on. Now, soy oil has had the biggest increase at 14.5%. Palm oil is 11.5, so there's a little bit of catch up going on here. Canola is trying to lagging in behind there, and it's running as well. And then the European rapeseed is neck and neck with canola. So if we're just looking at these complexes starting on this date, we've had a pretty good run on prices of those products, right? So here's another thing that's happened the last couple of days is OPEC is going to increase its production, and that's putting a lot of pressure on this market. So now it's fallen below the $70 value. As you can see here, that break has been good for us, that's for sure, on the price of fuel, and it probably will impact it even more. But looking for a downside target of that 64 where we were back in just at the beginning of September. So commodity index. So there's many different ones out there, but just trying to figure out hey, what's going on overall in the baskets of all commodities that are traded. And you can see here the CRB commodity index has had a pretty good run back into the values that we've seen back in July, where there's a fair bit of strength over there. And it's well, hopefully that can continue. Russia expands Baltic ports as it sees grain sales and wanting to get away from the dependence on the Black Sea. In the article, they were talking about how much is shipped through the Black Sea, and it's in the neighborhood of 80 to 90%. So they're looking for other means that are safer and easier to get out of. So here's the what if scenario, and what I put on here is this is just a average over multiple years, taking a high and low out and taking 10% off. So this is minus 10% from that average. And this is what StatsCan has said. But if you take 10% off of the long-term average, you end up with a very tight supply. And sorry for my big head, it's in the way here, but it's at 1.7%. Oil seeds, here we are. The snapshot when I took this. Canola was trading up $5, and rapeseed only 2.25 to 3. Soybean oil was up a half a penny again, so a nice little run there. Palm oil, as we saw earlier, up 112 ringgit. Crude oil down almost $2. Soybeans up 7 to 7.5 cents. Milling wheats and all wheats are up 3 to 4, and oats up 5, and corn unchanged. The Canadian dollar is still trading up. So here we are, the November canola. The places that I'm paying attention to now is the 100-day moving average at 624. That's in the purple, and the current retracement at 622. So to get back to that full 100%, and the current value is at 616. So we've had a good run, but tomorrow's Friday and it's profit taking day, so we'll see if that is actually going to be a down day. Might need to keep this veg oil story going. So far, we've been feeding that veg oil story almost daily. Palm oil, again, the same chart. Rapeseed, nice little run here, following the same kind of trend as the canola. Looking for this upside at 38.2, which would get us right at the 488 value. But it's still got a pretty good steep curve here and support under it here. So if we look at rapeseed in Canadian dollars minus Canadian canola, we are now at 108. So we're fallen since the its highs that it's made, but it's still on the support line. I downside target would I'd love to see it in this 80 to 100, but I just drew a line on the 100 there just to give you a relative terms of how high this is. Soybean oil trading right at the 61.8 retracement value for this timeline to go back up, and it's above all the moving averages. It's got that wonderful trend that we're taking advantage of with our canola. Soybeans, on the other hand, is not as steep a curve, but it is still in this upward move. You would draw a line there, maybe another line there, kind of thing, but looking for the upside at 1065, and at the time that I took this, it was at 1059. So if we can get going on a little bit higher value, it'd be great. Crude oil, as mentioned earlier, these two big down red days, good for fuel for sure. But it could have an impact on our veg oils as well. Could put some pressure on them as there is some correlation there. Canadian dollar, a couple of down days or down a little wee bit here. This is maybe following our petro oil kind of a scenario, but uh, it did retrace all the way up to the top on this move on the way up here. So which is quite high, but when you look at it in a bigger, broader term, going back to the range that we've traded since 2022 here, you got a 76 down to 72 basically, and we're right at 74. So we're in the middle of that range, maybe 2/3 of the range up there. Wheat, not much to say other than it still continues to trade sideways. We are just above the 20-day moving average, so that's a good scenario. So the 20-day moving average is uh, our support, but nothing looks like a very strong support here at all. Same thing with hard red winter. It's got a little bit of support, but it's basically trading sideways, which we've seen wheat do this many, many times in their past history, trade sideways for a long time. And milling wheat, same story. Actually, the only one that's maybe got a little bit more life in it is Chicago, but as we know, a lot of the short covering is coming off on some of these. Corn, basically flat as well. And next week we are going to get uh, a stocks report for September 30th, and that's all I have for you today.